Today we're going to learn how to make a one-note wall of sound with Ableton Meld, starting from scratch in just a few minutes. Okay, so here I have an empty project, and for today we only need one track. Let's delete all the other tracks. Keep only one empty MIDI track. I'm going to go under Instruments, and let's load Meld. Nice. Now I'm also going to load a MIDI clip. This can be as simple as just a few single notes. Go on the desktop. I'm going to drag in my MIDI clip. I'm going to bring it up with Command or Control Alt 3. And let's launch it. Nice. Let me also slow down our BPM. Let's go with 110. Now first, let's work on our chord sound. So I'm going to turn on Use Current Scale button. This will follow our scale mode, which is right now set to C major. First oscillator, I'm going to change to Swarm Saw. This already have a few chords inside of it if we bring up the spacing. Nice. We can also widen the sound with some motion. Let's do that. Bring it up. Oscillator B will change to a different swarm. Let's try Swarm Square. Let's also add some more spacing, maybe something slightly different, around 80, and more motion. Now, because we're only playing one note at a time, we can also change it from being polyphonic to monophonic, play only one note at a time, and that will also allow us to go under Settings and add some glide in between the notes. We can even do different glide times between oscillator A and oscillator B. Now, it is important that the MIDI notes are going to overlap into the next MIDI note. As you can see here, we already have it set up. They're all overlapping. Nice. Now let's thicken up the sound even more. We're going to stack two melds together, and we're going to bring the spread. Let's bring it up to spread a bit more panning in the stereo and a bit more spread in pitch. Let's also add some more color by changing oscillator B filter to filter. This is a filter with a built-in drive. Let's bring up the drive just a tiny bit. Nice. And now to finalize the sound, let's bring this down a bit. We're going to go under Audio Effects, and let's load the reverb. Let's just decrease the decay time and bring the dry wet to about 50%. Awesome. Let's take both the reverb and the meld by holding Shift, clicking on both, right-click, and group them into an instrument track. I'm going to open up the chain list. Let's rename this chain to our chord. We can also give it a color. And let's go back under Instruments and load another meld. Let's already rename this Command or Control R. Let's call it Sub. Give it a color. And let's solo just this. Now, because we're going to make a sub bass, make sure you're listening on headphones or proper speakers to be able to hear and adjust the sub bass. Okay, let's turn off oscillator B, and for this we'll only use one oscillator. We'll use the sub. We'll also turn on the Use Current Scale button. Let's switch it to monophonic, so we'll only play one note. And let's change the octave to -1, and the scale degrees, we'll change it to create a more interesting harmony between the sub and the chord. Let's go -4 scale degrees. Let's bring up the tone and the aux. Nice. Let's go Settings and add some glide. And we go back and use our filter. Add some drive. Maybe something like this. And let's add more drive, a serial drive with our global drive. And so with that, let's listen to both of them together. And lastly, let's add another meld. I'm going to put it on top. Let's rename it Command or Control R and call it top. I'm going to solo it. And for this one, we're also going to turn on the Use Current Scale, turn off Oscillator B, and let's change Oscillator A to cheap. Bring up the tone and the rate. Now let's add some randomization by going under LFO, changing it to one of the random modes like Wonder, bring up the rate, bring up the morph to change the shape, and let's make it stepwise. Now we're going to map this LFO, let's open up the modulation section, and map the LFO to pitch quantize, maybe 2 octaves, 24. Let's change the tone with oscillator macro 1. Let's change the rate with oscillator macro 2. And let's even randomize the filter by choosing a more interesting filter type, like let's say vowel. Let's bring down the frequency, add some resonance, morph the formants, and let's also bring up the octave to 2 octaves up. Nice, let's speed it up. Let's add some drive. And let's also change the tone knob, only emphasize the high frequencies. Nice, now let's add some reverb to it by going to our audio effects. Let's bring this down. Let's go under hybrid reverb. Let's add something like Spring Parade. We want to make sure we add it into the chain and not outside of the rack. So right here after the meld, let's bring down the dry wet. Now to help us glue all the layers together, let's go and load a raw audio effect and just change the routing to single. Let's unsolo our chain. And here we have our one note meld wall of sound.